Selling in the billions each year, Rainbow Mealworms is your one-stop shop for all your insect needs. Their quality feeders and A-plus customer service keep me coming back to support the health and growth of all of our
Oh
animals.
man,
Visit them today
Shenay.
at rainbowmealworms.net
Um,
to place
Sorry, we don't
your
know what just
order.
happened.
I just clicked a couple buttons by accident on my computer, and I totally think it just skipped over the intro and all of that. Oh my gosh, this is the worst. But good to hear. So you're like, that's the shortest intro. It didn't even.
Wow, surprise!
So good to meet you, Shenay. You know, this is kind of our first time actually talking face to face.
I know.
So we're very happy to have you.
Thank
I'm just
you.
I'm just gonna open up the chat here. We have a couple of our regulars, and I would just like the regulars to do a sound check for us. Make sure there's no echo for Shenay. Make sure there's no echo for myself. And if there
Yes.
is, then we can definitely adjust that. So please let us know. But we have
Yes.
Shenay, the bug
Hi!
girl here.
That's me!
So how did you get known as the bug girl? Have you always been into bugs? And what's the background on that?
Well, actually, no, I have not always been into bugs. I've always been into animals. Like, I've always loved animals my whole life. And I've like had an interest in like I randomly saw a Facebook memory from like 10 years ago that was like, I wish I could have a scorpion. But other than that, like I was never really into bugs. It all started like with it's a very specific event where it all started for me. It was at the Natural History Museum in Los Angeles. I went and I just went to the museum, just going around, hanging out, checking it out. And they had like for an extra $5, you can go into this spider exhibit. And I was like, I mean, why not? Like I'll probably just walk in, like see some spiders around, like cool. And then come to find out that it's like a giant greenhouse and the spiders are just there. There's no enclosures. Like I was thinking we're gonna see like enclosures, right? No. No, and we're talking like the giant orb weavers. They're like the size of your hand, and they're just there. They're just like there. And I was just like, do I want to go into this? Like, I don't know if I want to go in here. Like, this is crazy, right? But I went in and instantly, I don't know, I was just like amazed by these spiders. I was just like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. And then the whole ride home, I was looking into like what spiders can I have as pets and how can I get spiders and which led me like tarantulas are a very common gateway to like
Yeah.
invert keeping. So it got me into tarantulas and I just kept tarantulas for a while. And then I just started seeing like other options on like the different vendor sites. I got into scorpions and then I got into like beetles and then I got into cockroaches and I got into praying mantis and I just like it's a very easy like rabbit hole to fall down once you start keeping inverts. It's just like you just get curious. You're like, what about centipedes? Like what about grasshoppers? What about stick insects? Like I just want everything. So it's been about 4 years since I've been like totally immersed in this, but it's just like, yeah, it all started with that spider exhibit. Sorry, that was
I
a
can
really long
tell.
story.
No, that's perfectly fine. We like long stories. We'll probably ask you for some more long stories here.
Okay,
I
perfect.
can tell you're one of the cool kids because you call it inverts, which is
Oh no.
totally like a slang term for the people that are like comfortable with that. But it is a really cool terminology. Now, to any hobby, there is exciting perspectives or exciting passions about the hobby.
Yeah.
What would you say is most exciting about bugs? Is it their creepiness? Is it the diversity? What intrigues you the most about them?
I think it's a lot about them just being misunderstood. Sorry, my cat's tail. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, can you?
Um, it's like it's something about them being very misunderstood and like the kind of shock value of it is very intriguing to me. Something like to do with overcoming fear because like naturally I feel like we're naturally inclined. Oh my God, my cat is rubbing her head on my tripod.
You open the door, so.
I feel like we're naturally inclined to like be apprehensive towards bugs. And so it's like fun to challenge yourself to break out of that and like see them in a different way and to
Yeah.
help other people see them in a different way. Like I've just had so much fun like educating people and taking people who like so many people comment on my stuff and they're like, I was so scared of spiders, but now I'm not, or now I'm more comfortable with them, or now when I see a spider, I don't kill it. I don't know. It's just something about just the stigma and them being misunderstood that really kind of like draws me.
Yeah, that's beautiful, actually. Let me ask you this. Yeah. Okay, so as a reptile hobbyist, there is an aspect that we get addicted to collecting, right? Like Pokemon cards. Oh, I want
Right.
Pikachu. I want this. So that's why I kind of wanted to ask if there's like an allure of an addiction factor there because there's millions of species of bugs and you want to
Oh
like catch them all
gosh.
kind of thing. But
Oh yes.
but your definition still goes way deeper into like being very passionate about it. Now, one thing that I'm learning more about with time, there's almost no life on Earth that is simple. All life is complex and complicated and diverse. And so even something like a spider or a tarantula, although it's like simpler in body size and maybe like brain complexity and stuff from our perspective, I think there's a lot of things that we don't know about the animal kingdom, how they communicate, what their maximum like mental potential is, and all that kind of stuff. There are a ton of people that think that like insects might not have feelings or they might not have thoughts or the ability to kind of create and those kinds of things. Have you seen any behaviors in your insects or observations that you can make that might make you think that they actually do feel pain even though they don't have a nervous system, or they do have feelings or emotions, or certain insects act differently than other insects of the same species? Can you kind of touch on your observation there a little bit?
Yeah, it definitely varies like species to species. Like tarantulas undoubtedly like are not very intelligent and they are very instinct based, and so it's
Yeah.
definitely like when you interact with a tarantula it's very much like, oh, movement, food, like they're very baseline. But something like even like the cockroaches, just watching them like interact, the way they approach each other. There's like I've looked into scientific like research to see how well these animals can be trained, and they've shown scientifically that they can build associations and retain them day to day. So there it varies insect to insect, but I definitely see a lot of interaction with things like roaches, with beetles. Mantis are extremely curious. Like you pick them up and they look at you. And a tarantula is not going to look at you. They're not like, "Hi, who are you? You're my mother." But the
Yeah.
mantis, they just kind of like look at you and you're like, "I know that you know that I exist and I am here." And it's very so there's a different level of interaction with different bugs, or when I say bugs, people will come at me because they'll say that I'm calling like spiders bugs, which I'm not. Bugs is a colloquial term. I'm not calling spiders insects, so just let that be known before people come for me. But I kind of refer to all of my pets as like bugs because it's easy, it makes sense. But
So
there's a different level of interaction with every different creature.
so
But they're cool.
that was new to me. The term bug is different than the term invertebrate. Like a tarantula is technically not supposed to be a bug, you're saying? Or
Yeah, I mean, because, okay, bug is a colloquial term. It's not a scientific term like insect,
okay.
but people will say that you're calling a spider an insect if you're not careful. So I just want it to be known that I know that, spiders and scorpions are arachnids.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so there's invertebrate. I'm new to this. So there's
Yeah,
invertebrate, and then there's
mhm.
okay.
So inverts or invertebrates are, things that have the exoskeleton. So they're vertebrates in invertebrates.
No bone
So
structure, stuff like that.
exactly. So they all fall under the category of inverts, but they're not all technically bugs.
Yeah. Now, like you said, going back to the praying mantis, it's funny how humans will use animal bodily functions to kind of create technology. So, like, they're studying the wings of a hummingbird right now to create better
Hmm.
helicopters or airplanes. And I could imagine that they could study something that we would call simple, like I'm sure almost every human on Earth would say that a praying mantis is a simpler form of life than human. Nonetheless, it has a lot of unique factors that humans don't and abilities that humans don't. Their
Hmm.
eyesight, the strength within is those mandibles? Is that what that's called?
They're the raptorial
That's cool. Yeah,
arms.
Raptorial. So life is amazing is kind of the idea that I'm getting at, and I've always appreciated bugs. I'll go in with you on the colloquial term. I've always appreciated bugs. Moving to Arizona, I always wanted to catch tarantulas out here and stuff,
Uh-huh.
and I haven't had the opportunity to do that. But do you have a lot of like native tarantulas and stuff in California, like where you're from, or?
Yeah, I live in a pretty developed area in California, so I don't get to see as many cool things as I would like, but we do have many native species here. The Aphonopelma genus has species that are local to both here and also to you in Arizona. So there's plenty of good tarantulas, especially during mating season. If you ever see a tarantula moving, it's probably a male looking for a female during mating season because for the most part they stay put. Um, so there's a good chance of seeing male tarantulas, looking for a mate. I see a ton of bees. Like in my yard, we have those really cute big bumblebees, those really fuzzy ones, and I love them so much. We have millipedes, we have isopods, all kinds of cool diversity when you really look around, like all kinds of cool beetles. I found some really cool beetles. I don't live in the most like fantastic place for bug looking, to be honest. But you in Arizona, you have it pretty good. I don't know if you've ever heard of Bugs in Cyberspace or Peter, who runs that. He's in Arizona and he finds the coolest stuff. So you gotta go looking around at night sometime.
Yeah, I'll have to follow him. I'll have to get your name from
Oh
him
yeah,
later
yeah.
on.
He's incredible.
Yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, like speaking of looking around at night, it's pretty much common practice if you're a homeowner to have like a black light and go looking for scorpions at night.
Uh
On
huh.
that note, I had to fill up the lawnmower with gasoline today, and there's a small shed in our backyard, and I found a bark scorpion in there, and
Oh,
I told myself, I
nice.
was like, you know what? Okay, so I have to confess here.
Uh-oh.
Scorpions are not good around our household because we have a cat and
Yeah.
animals and those kinds of things. So I tend to kill them. I have to confess.
Okay.
I don't want to necessarily, but it's just for safety purposes. So in that shed, and I can't believe I did this last week, I killed a mama scorpion with like 100 babies on her back or something.
Oh my God.
And then this
You should
week
have
I
sent
went
it to
in.
me.
I will next time. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to let that shed be our scorpion breeding shed. So
Oh
if you
gosh.
Arizona scorpions or something like that, I'll get them from that shed for you because it seems
Okay.
like the perfect shed for them. So just today I was in there, and I don't know if this was the male or another female. It didn't have babies, so I couldn't tell. But there was another scorpion in there, and I told myself, you know what? In case I want to keep that as a pet one day, or maybe I know somebody that wants it, I'm just gonna leave the scorpions alive in this shed. My wife doesn't
Uh-huh.
go in that shed, so I don't have to worry about her. She got
I do.
stung.
I go in that.
She got
Okay.
stung by a scorpion in
Okay.
the middle of the night in bed. So.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like panicking right now but because he's saying that because if I see a scorpion but it doesn't like touch me, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna get near it. I'm just gonna leave it alone. But
Uh-huh.
there was one night where I was staying over at his parents' house, and I was sleeping in a bedroom in, like, it was the top story,
Second floor, yeah.
second floor. and I wake up to like the weirdest sensation ever. And I'm from Colorado.
Oh
I'm not
gosh.
into scorpions at all. So I wake up with the weirdest sensation, and I notice that it's coming from like this nerve that they call like the funny bone, you know,
Uh-huh.
the funny bone nerve. And I'm like, well, what just happened? And so did you find a scorpion or did I?
Yeah,
find
she
it?
came running to my room, which was downstairs at the time, and she was like, I think I just got stung by a scorpion. So I ran up there, pulled off the covers, and sure enough, it was right there. It was a bark scorpion.
Oh gosh.
So
That's
she,
no fun.
she has a and
I
then
don't-
when she was in a motel traveling,
all right,
she
so let me tell a story.
yeah.
So yeah, going to spiders.
Uh-oh.
I was helping. Bugs love my blood. They love something about me.
Uh-huh.
And so I was helping my sister and brother-in-law move from Chicago to Colorado. And I was with them, and we pulled up to this like Holiday Inn Express in Nebraska. And so, we go to bed, and then I am like half asleep, and I realize that I'm starting to scratch, but I'm like half conscious. So I'm like, whatever. Then I wake up in the morning, and I go to the mirror, and there's like 20 red bites on my stomach, on my back, on my chest.
Oh
And
my gosh.
I'm just like freaking out. And so we tell the staff, and they say, okay, we'll investigate. And so about a week later, they tell us that there was a spider nest in my mattress.
So she's had bad luck.
Oh no.
Never been thrilled about insects, and then when those two things happen, she would just tell me, she's like, okay, I understand you're doing the reptiles and invertebrates are part of that hobby, but she's like, I just don't want to be collecting them in the house.
So I'm not too happy about the shit.
Yeah.
I'm not too happy about that.
But one day I would like to collect tarantulas and stuff. So are there a couple baseline invertebrates that you think are great starters for people that are just getting into invertebrates, like emperor scorpion or something like that,
Yeah, I think tarantulas are a really, really good place to start because they're really easy to keep and they don't do a whole lot. So when I say this, I'm mostly talking about New World tarantulas. So those are like tarantulas like from the Americas. Generally, they're slower and they're just more docile. And keeping in mind that tarantulas aren't like hands-on pets, as most inverts generally aren't hands-on pets, minus like mantis. Like mantis, I will say, like can be like a hands-on pet. But I feel like tarantulas are a really good place to start just because they are so slow moving, they are so easy to keep. My cat keeps hitting my tripod. Oh my god.
Yeah, I see.
She's big.
Our last guest had a cat too, so it happened as well.
Yeah.
But I feel like a New World tarantula, like especially in a Phonoplelma species, like a Phonoplelma calcodes, which is the Arizona blonde, so you have them there.
Oh yeah, someone just said that in the chat. Yeah.
Oh yeah, those are a really good place to. Oh yeah, AZ Blonde. Yeah, they're a really good place to start. Anything a Phonopelma is going to be really good. Grammostola, Brachypelmas are pretty good. The only downside to a New World tarantula is that they do have something called urticating hairs on their abdomen. So they are these hairs that they can use in a defense mechanism. They kick them off using their hind leg, and it's kind of like fiberglass pieces.
Ooh.
So you definitely don't want them in your face, and they're very itchy. But it's very easy to avoid, especially if you're not handling the tarantula. So that's the only potential downside, but I would say tarantulas are an excellent place to start, a really good gateway. They're really easy to find. There's a species for everyone, no matter what you like. If you like purple, blue, green, if you want fluffy ones or not fluffy ones, or if you want fast ones or slow ones, or ones that go in the trees or ones that dig in the ground, like there's tarantula for everyone.
So you would not recommend a bird-eating tarantula for your first?
I mean, it's a New World tarantula, so I'm not going to say no. I'm very strong in the belief that you should get what you want because
Yeah.
that's ultimately what you're going to take the best care of and you're going to have the best time with and you're just going to overall enjoy more. I would probably say I would steer you away from a bird eater, but if you really wanted one, I'd say, okay, do the research. Just be ready for a 12-inch spider,
Yeah,
and
that's
okay.
huge.
But overall, I would either start with a tarantula or a mantis, like a ghost
Okay.
mantis would be amazing. They're really easy to keep, and that's something more hands-on that you can really handle.
Okay.
So I would say that would be a really good place to start, like a ghost mantis. I know everyone wants orchid mantis, and they're beautiful, but they could die on you. They do have humidity requirements. So I would
Now,
say like something like a ghost mantis would be awesome.
do are most insects or invertebrates in the hobby, are most of them captive bred, or is there a lot of imports that you have to worry about health problems with and stuff, you know?
There's going to be a variety of both. There are a lot of captive breeding. There's a lot of captive breeding happening now with more and more and more species. So it's becoming a lot easier to get a captive bred species. You'll see a lot of wild caught when it comes to really slow grown species, like some Aphonopelmas. Like if you see like a full big Aphonopelma, like there's probably a pretty good chance it's wild caught. But since the hobby is still kind of new and these species are so long lived, for a lot of them, they're still kind of working on the captive breeding. So it's a combination of both. It's definitely not hard to find captive bred, and parasites and things like that and illnesses are a little bit less of a concern than they are with reptiles. It's not quite as common with inverts, but it's a mix. It's a mix, and there are different species that I would like to see more captive breeding of. Like for example, I love wolf spiders, and they're not captive bred a lot because I think there's not necessarily a ton of interest in keeping them. But I have just have I hatched out a little egg sac of captive bred wolf spiders. So personally, I was really excited about that because most wolf spiders in the hobby are captive or are wild caught. So it's a mix. It's a mix.
Maybe I'm getting the wolf spider mixed up with something else, but isn't there something like a wolf spider that's really, really venomous? Maybe it's not from the Americas, maybe it's from Africa or something like that. I don't know what I'm thinking of, but
Yeah, it's not a wolf spider.
okay,
They're
it's not a
not
wolf
medically
spider then.
significant. No, I
Yeah.
don't, yeah, they're not medically significant. As with most of my inverts that I keep aren't medically significant when it comes to
Yeah,
venom. They're only slightly venomous, which is where I got the name from.
slightly venomous. That's interesting. So I
Yeah.
was gonna ask you, what's the difference between poison and venom, and are different invertebrates poisonous or only venomous?
That's a really good question. And one of my favorites is when people ask me, like, aren't your animals poisonous? And I go, oh, God, no, they're not poisonous, but they are venomous.
But they are venomous. Yeah.
That's like one of my absolute favorite things because so venom is when it's injected into you. So venom would be, through like a bite or a sting. It's injected into you. Poison would be if you consume it. So
Really?
so a poison would be like there are like poison dart frogs. Like if you
Yeah.
ate the poison dart frog, it would be a bad day. But the
Huh.
poison dart frog isn't going to bite you and envenomate you. So there are it's poisonous. There's not very sorry, my lizard is acting up over there. Um there so being poisonous, there are poisonous inverts, but venom is more likely something you're going to run into with them. Just don't eat any of them. I wouldn't recommend eating any spiders, just on the off chance that they are poisonous. But
I wouldn't either.
venom but they do eat like they eat tarantulas in like South America and stuff. So
Do they
I'm
remove
not
the
down.
venom glands before they eat them, or does the cooking process like
Yeah, I
take?
mean, I suppose that the venom is ingested isn't as problematic
Okay,
as injected
okay,
into the bloodstream. I guess the the digestive system is able to break it down.
That's so interesting. So venom, you're thinking about injected, like you said. Poison,
Mm-hmm.
you're thinking about ingested. Both of
Mm-hmm.
them being harmful or less harmful depending on the species and whatnot.
Yeah, so
So
a
both of
fun
those,
way to think of it is like if you bite it and you have a bad day, it's poisonous. If it bites you and you have a bad day, it's
wow,
venomous.
that's really good. Thanks for breaking that down. Very easy way to understand that. So, do you have anything that's more than slightly venomous in your collection?
Yes, I do have a death stalker scorpion. I have a brown recluse, and I
What
do
are
also.
those? Yeah, what are
That
those?
sounds
Where are they?
delightful.
Describe each one, where they're from, and what the danger level is, and how you protect yourself.
Well, I don't handle them. I mean, I have my brown recluse is really well known on TikTok. Her name is Jelly Bean, and she has her own like fan club. I swear, everyone loves Jelly Bean. She's just a cute little brown recluse spider, and I did purchase her. They are not native to California, which is funny because I posted that I on Facebook. I posted that I had a brown recluse, and people who live in California were telling me that they've been bitten by a brown recluse in California. And I'm like, no, that's not, no, you didn't.
You
But
would know
so
if you
Jelly
were
Bean
bitten by a
is,
brown
their venom is medically significant. By some standards, there's a lot of controversy over how significant the brown recluse bite actually is. It's generally, a lot of people say that it's generally a co-infection with staph that gets into the brown recluse bite, and that's what causes most of the issues. This cat, I swear. But so that's Jelly Bean, and she is a brown recluse. I have Peaches is a black widow, and so she is medically
Ooh.
significant. I would prefer not to be bitten by her. They are pretty venomous. They're very hands off pets. I mean, I've handled my brown recluse in a video before just to make a point, but for the most part, they're hands-off pets. That's how I protect myself. I don't handle them. I'm just very respectful of them and just aware of, the possibility. And I'm respecting them. They're doing me a service by being my pet, and so I'm, being careful with them. I also have a Vietnamese centipede, which was something that I was rather apprehensive to get because their venom is medically significant and their mandibles, Lord, they are huge. Like they can bite you. So I don't handle that at all, that centipede. I only use a catch cup when, moving or rehousing it. So that, and I do have the giant water bugs, which are also called toe biters, and
I
I've
don't
heard
know.
that their bite is pretty bad. People are like, it will bring you to your knees. Like, I don't think it's that the venom is necessarily that bad, but just the combination of the bite. I've heard it's really bad.
And you have them, you're saying?
I do have them.
So, how big is your brown recluse?
Very small. They're very small.
Okay.
A lot of people think they're like really big, but they're very, very small spiders. They're very small. She's like maybe like that.
Yeah. So we have like a ton of black widows in our yard, and we have this one in our AC unit, and it's about like that big
Uh-huh.
with the body and the legs. And we don't really have a lot of those from in Colorado where I come from. We do have brown recluses. I've never actually seen one, but I think black widows are like more common here.
Yeah, Arizona for sure.
And so
They are.
it's just like so weird to me. Like this is our second year of owning a home. So it's just so weird to me walking around like having to spray all these like big giant black widows.
They get big, yeah. They get bulky. Like their bodies are quite big, especially when they're eaten well, which they
Yeah,
probably
and
are in Arizona.
the thing with black widows is they love dark, small places, right, where they put up their
Mm-hmm.
webs and stuff like that. So we have a bunch of like large outdoor caging animals, tegus that have hides and stuff. And I got to be really careful because when I pick up that wood and stuff, sometimes, that's
Yeah.
where I'll find them. And because we have because we keep outdoor reptiles, we don't spray for insects. So we don't spray pesticides or any of that kind of stuff. So everything just runs rampant here. And she might spray a little vinegar, like home concoction kind of thing, but I don't like the harsh chemicals because the bugs are eating it, and then the animals are eating the bugs that are running around out there. So I just don't like that. Plus, I like animals. So although I don't want to get stung by a black widow, it's nice to see diversity of insects and life and whatnot.
Exactly. Yeah, we need our insects, you know, like if we lose the bees, we're screwed. So, you know, every little life form contributes to the ecosystem.
Yeah, definitely. This question came to mind when you were talking a second ago. You say it so professionally when you say it would be medically significant. I like the way I like the way you put that. Instead of like it'll mess you up, it'll be medically significant. So let me ask you this: I don't know much about venomous snakes and how easy they are to attain and whatnot, but do you need a license to keep medically insignificant or medically significant venomous invertebrates? And what's the process about that? Or do you not need licenses or permits or anything like that?
No, with inverts, it's pretty unregulated. They're, oh gosh, my cat is
Gotta love the
gonna
cat.
death of me.
Our cat's running around back here somewhere too. So
There,
It's
so
right now.
there's not really any regulation for venomous insects. I was really surprised to find that when I started looking for certain things. I was like, there's got to be some type of like regulation here. But no, it's actually you can get your hands on pretty much anything. You can even I've seen available the what's the scorpion that's the most deadly one? It's like the Indian red scorpion, and it'll
wow.
kill that'll kill you. And
That's
you can get
crazy.
your
You can
hands
just
on
get
it.
it, huh?
You can get it. Yeah, you can get. It's crazy because I recently went to the museum local to me, and I was talking to the person who's in charge of keeping the animals, and she's like, "Oh, I want to get my hands on this. I want to get my hands on that." I'm like, "I can get my hands on any of that for you." Like it's not regulated. Like the
Yeah.
only regulation really lies oh sorry the only regulation lies in like things that are illegal to import based off of
Sightings and that kind of stuff, right?
yeah, exactly, not based off of venom. So it's a
So
pro
interesting.
and a con in a sense because it's tricky because people new to the hobby can get their hands on whatever they want. So I think it's like up to people like content creators to help educate people so they make good decisions. Because like for example, when people get into tarantulas, there's like new world and old world is a very common like differentiation in tarantulas, and new worlds are like venom is not medically significant, whereas old worlds they're very fast and their venom is medically significant. Like I saw someone in the chat mentioning the OBT, the orange baboon,
Mm.
and it's like a lot of it's very confusing in the beginning, and someone could easily end up with something that's venomous. So it's a pro and a con in a sense that you can get your
Yeah.
hands on all these things.
Now you said something about the old world tarantulas I meant to ask you about earlier. They
Uh-huh.
don't have the ability to shed their
They
follicle
do not
hairs
have the
or whatever.
urticating hairs. No, instead they've got venom and
Oh,
speed.
stronger,
But
and
does
faster.
that mean that they're smaller then?
Are
No,
they
not
all smaller?
necessarily.
Some of them are big.
No.
Okay.
Where are they from in the old world? Like Africa, Asia area, then, or
Exactly. Yeah, versus the new worlds, which are from like the Americas, like North and South.
I think it's so cool how they call it old world and new world. It's very like fantasy like esque. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so when I was looking at your page and whatnot, it looked like you were very into almost like Renaissance fair type stuff. I don't know if I don't know if the attire you were wearing was what you were wearing
It
to the Renaissance fair
was.
or just for fun. Okay.
That was
Okay,
for
so
the Renaissance Fair. Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, we've made it a commitment to go to the Renaissance fair, and
Every year.
yeah, there was a
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah, so
Okay, yeah.
yeah, we love the
Yeah.
Renaissance Fair out
Oh
here.
yeah, it's a fun. I actually went with some of my friends from the hobby, so we
Nice.
were
That's a
talking
good
about like
time.
tarantulas the whole time, and I had like a moth inspired cape and like little butterflies in my hair and stuff.
That's
So
so
I
cool.
try to incorporate bugs like everywhere I go.
Yeah, that was really cool. Before stream, we were trying to do this so it doesn't echo. I'm gonna try to see if we could show your Instagram and see if it echoes. So if you want to make a sound, like what sound does a tarantula make?
Oh, I hear that go.
Oh no. Okay. So just for curiosity's sake, I'm gonna watch this back. Anyone in the chat, let me know if you hear Shenay echoing right now or not. That way I know, like, if I could tell our guests, okay, I know it's annoying for you, Shenay, but you can talk a little bit here. And even though you hear yourself echo, the audience doesn't, you know what I mean? But do you have a picture of a toe biter on your Instagram? Because I'm curious what this insect is.
I don't think I do.
Okay.
Oh my God, the speech jammer.
Speech jammer is horrible. Okay, I'll take you off of that.
Messes you up.
Yeah.
It's so I'm like, wow, suddenly I
If I
can't
find
speak.
something that I want to ask your comment on, I'll flash to it real quick on your Instagram, and then I'll come back here.
Okay.
Yeah, you were echoing, so
Yeah, I saw they heard the echo.
yeah. Let me see something real quick there.
So while he's doing that, you've heard of camel spiders, right?
Oh yes, I have a small one.
Okay. So like, do you know how big they get?
I've heard that in the Middle East, those guys get like a foot long. I mean,
Yeah.
I've never been there, so I've seen photos from like military and stuff. So I can't help but assume that it's true.
I saw that photo on Google Images and I was like, this has got to be fake. But apparently
I've heard
it's
stories.
So one day, so I'm a teacher. I'm an elementary school teacher, and I'm going to teach music. And so one day, I was teaching a class, and my kids are like, they call me Mrs. C. And my kids are like, Mrs. C, there's something over there. I'm like, oh, what is it now? And so I look over there, and it doesn't quite look like a spider. It doesn't quite look like a scorpion. I'm from Colorado. I've never seen anything like it before. I didn't know if it was like extremely venomous. I didn't know what it was. And so literally, like, I look at it, the kids look at it looks at the kids, and then it starts running.
It knows. It
This
knows.
thing is running across the floor. I don't know what
well,
it
it's
is.
running at them, right? It was running towards them.
Yes, I don't know what it is.
So it's
I don't know what it's gonna do. So I like evacuated the children out of the room because I had no idea what it was. And so then I called like our building guy, and I was like, I don't know what there's something in the room. And so he came, and I think he was a little annoyed because he was just like, it's just a sun spider or whatever. I'm like, okay, well, that thing was
They're
terrible.
pretty crazy looking.
They're
so,
pretty creepy
I mean,
looking.
And so then I was told afterwards that it had been wandering around the building. And so I was asking other teachers, like, what is it? They're like, oh, it's a sun scorpion, and it's territorial. So that's why it was running. And I was like, oh, that makes me feel great.
Are they territorial, Shenay, or is it just teacher gossip?
I don't imagine they could be that territorial over that big of a territory, especially to the point where they would go after a human. So I'm going to say gossip.
But they are pretty freaky, right? Like, you've seen them, right?
Yeah, it's a crazy
something between
thing.
a
Their
scorpion
mouths
and
are like
it's crazy,
Yeah.
scary. Yeah.
I mean,
for
it
me
was
it's
like,
the mouth. There's like it opens like that.
Oh man,
it
yeah.
was the most terrifying teaching day I've ever had in my whole career.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
well,
this
I
thought
mean, a bite would be bad, so
Yeah.
this thought just came to mind as we were talking about terrifying insects and weird mandibles and whatnot. Have you ever watched oh shoot, I got the movie in my head. Starship Troopers, and what do you think about their portrayal of giant insects in
I
it?
don't know. I haven't seen it.
Okay, never mind then. It's basically a
I'll have
sci-fi
to.
movie that has giant insects. It's a
I gotta
classic.
see that. Okay, I'll
Yeah.
put that on my
So
list.
it's called Starship Troopers. It's a
Okay.
pretty good classic. Now are a lot of your tattoos and stuff like invertebrate related or just like insect related at all, or what's the story behind the passion behind those?
Yeah, so some of them are. I do have a spider here. I have a scorpion here. I have a cockroach on my leg, but I'm wearing tights right now. You can definitely see it on my Instagram. I would show you, but I'm literally wearing tights, but I have a cockroach tattoo on my leg. Let's see.
Yeah, we
Oh,
can
I
see
see
it.
that. I see
Yeah.
that.
But so I do have some of my invert related. I actually just put down a deposit to get a tattoo of a bee wearing boots. So that's gonna be pretty
Yeah.
cute.
Is it the fuzzy bee or is it like a hornet or
It's like a cute bee.
it's a cute bee? Okay.
But it's so cute because it's funny because I saw it in someone's flash and it's really funny to me because the bee has 4 legs and bees have
Huh.
6 legs. But the bee has 4 legs and I was gonna ask her if she could change it and make it 6 legs, but I was like, no, it's funny with the 4 legs. Like, I don't know. I'm like, it's not accurate, but it's funny.
What's the there's a couple different themes that I see that people go for with tattoos. It's either like totally goofy and funny, or it's like super cool looking, or it's like
Uh-huh.
super sentimental. Do you do like a mix of all of those kinds of things, or like
Yeah, I would say I do. I do have like so this arm is a cover up in progress of an entire sleeve. So it was actually a Star Wars sleeve, and I do love Star Wars still. But it was just done really poorly. It was not what I wanted, and so I'm in the process of getting it completely reworked and covered up. Like we're keeping R2D2, we're keeping Boba Fett here,
oh, I
but
see it.
this has gotten like galaxied out and stuff. So, and then this arm, I want to focus on putting more bugs and stuff on there. But so I would say most of mine are goofy and silly and just art that I
Yeah.
like. Like it's mostly just like decorating my body with art that I like and things that I think are funny or cute or represent a time in my life or whatever. But very few have any sentimental. I think I have maybe like 2, 3 maybe that have like meaning. I have my cat's name tattooed on me, so that's meaningful. But yeah, for me, it's more about just like decorating my body with memories and things that I like.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
yeah, because it is really beautiful artwork and it's very artsy. It's also really cool. Like the bugs look cool. Are those
Thank
rune
you.
words on your left arm, or that I just
Oh,
saw?
here
Are those?
it's
Yeah.
the planets.
Oh, are those constellations then,
They're
or
the
not constellations? Planets of our solar system? You're saying
yeah, exactly.
they have planets have their own signs? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
See, I'm learning the cool. Okay, so the cool thing about interviewing you is that normally I almost know all of the answers to the questions that I'm going to ask somebody because I'm interviewing reptile people. But I know
Okay.
absolutely nothing about invertebrates other than they're super cool looking, and I would like to own a whole room full of them one day and have a collection
Oh
of
yeah.
invertebrates when we're out of
It's
the house and whatnot.
yeah, it's
You know.
so fun, man.
Now, how hard is it to keep invertebrates, and what are some of the housing style options that people have, and where can people get that stuff from? You know?
So very easy to keep. For the most part, they they don't need cleaning, which is really nice because I keep reptiles too, and I'm always just complaining about the reptile care because for the inverts, it's so easy, you know. For the most part, you just kind of throw the food in. It's not like I have to sit there and wait for my snake to take the mouse. Like I'm just like, here you go, and call it a day. You know, you keep their water dish full for the most part. Humidity is generally not too big of an issue. Temperature is pretty much not an issue at all. They pretty much, for the most part, all do well at room temperature. So care is so easy as a reptile keeper. Anyone who's a reptile keeper, you will be so happy when you see how easy inverts are. You're going to be like, wait, don't I need to do something? Literally, no, you don't. Just put it in the terrarium, throw the food in there a couple times a week, and keep the water dish full. And that's pretty much all you need to do. Housing, as far as housing goes, there's so many options. You can do like a regular terrarium, like a enclosure for like a reptile, like something like that. You can do something as simple as like a critter keeper. You can do like for mantis, I've seen people make enclosures out of such crazy different things. I've seen them make them out of like lanterns, make like a mantis enclosure out of that. I keep some in like these like mesh enclosures. And then a little shameless plug here. I
Okay.
am sponsored by Tarantula Cribs, and they make these clear acrylic enclosures.
That's really cool.
Oh,
And they're really nice because you can see your animals really, really well. So I have most of mine in Tarantula Cribs now. And if anyone is interested in Tarantula Cribs, Venomous 10 will save you 10%.
So where can they find that discount? On your Instagram? Or
Yeah. I'm always
Okay.
posting about it. So if you follow me
they
on
can get in
Instagram,
contact with you.
so I really like them. So they're a really good option for if you want like a really clear, nice enclosure. So they're really fun because you can customize your invert enclosures as much or keep them as simple as you want. Like for a tarantula, you could do something as simple as, a critter keeper, some substrate, and a hide and a water dish. Or you can go all out and you can do a planted enclosure. You can go bioactive. It's very customizable. So that's a fun thing about inverts is that like you can go as crazy or as non-crazy as you want. Like I just built my Black Widow an enclosure with plants, and I put isopods in there, and I went all out. But then, you can keep it simple too. So it's nice because you have a lot of creative freedom.
That's one thing I noticed about the invertebrate housing and whatnot is it doesn't appear for the most part that they need a lot of space. Can you speak to that real quick? Does the spider need a lot of space? Are there arguments in the community of whether they should have more space or less space?
Yes, that's something I hear a lot about, especially with tarantulas. You'll notice that very often tarantulas are kept in what could be considered a fairly small enclosure. And what we've learned from studying them in the wild is that generally they're pretty opportunistic burrowers. So for the most part, they find a spot that they like and they live their whole life there. So if you give them what they need, they're more than content to stay in a small space. It's not common for them to roam unless they're a mature male looking for a female. So it's these animals generally aren't roamers, and they don't exercise, and enrichment doesn't really reflect on them in the same way as it does with a reptile. Their brains just aren't that well adapted. So you're able to keep them. So, I mean, there's not really much debate. It's pretty much accepted that they don't need a lot of space. It's only debated by people who don't actually keep them, is what I notice. Like people will come in
fire in a glass jar.
Yeah, I mean there are of course like restrictions, like they need to have enough space to molt. So if you're keeping something in like a little tiny enclosure where it can't successfully shed the exoskeleton, then you're going to have troubles there. You want them to be able to fully stretch out and fully maneuver, get to their water, demonstrate their natural behaviors. But from what we've seen in the wild, these animals aren't movers.
Now, in most invertebrate enclosures, like the one you just showed, I noticed there's typically a lot of depth to the substrate. Why is that? Are they burying down in there, holding humidity? What's the point of all that substrate?
Yeah, the point of the substrate is to allow for burrowing. It is common, especially with tarantulas, to burrow. So I always just like to, people will provide varying amounts of substrate for different species. Like, for example, my black widow is not going to dig. So she has a very thin layer of substrate that's mainly there to house her isopod cleanup crew and, provide humidity. So, and of course her plants. Whereas like the tarantulas, they can burrow, especially slings, which is a spiderling, which is a baby spider. They will burrow and remain burrowed for a long period of time. So I just like to provide them with a decent amount of substrate so that they can demonstrate that natural behavior of burrowing.
Okay, yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, that kind of explains what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions on your mind about bugs, or are you warming up to the idea of
Yeah, are you
tarantulas?
ready?
They come in lots of colors, right? Pink, blue,
Yeah, I have
orange,
purple ones. There's
purple.
purple.
Oh, let me ask this real quick. What is the price range like of these animals, and how is the market comparable to like reptiles? Are there spiders selling for like $10,000? Like, what's the market like in invertebrates?
Yeah, inverts are pretty reasonably priced. I notice for like an expensive tarantula for me, like where I would be like, "Oh, I'm dropping money right now," would be like maybe $200.
Oh, nice.
So, especially in like with a mantis, the most expensive mantis I've ever purchased, and it's an expensive species, was about $90.
Wow.
So it's pretty affordable hobby to be in. Definitely more affordable than reptiles. There, if someone's selling you a tarantula for $10,000, I would be, it better give you powers. Like
Yeah.
like there's
Uh,
this one species that's going for quite a bit right now. It's called the T. Celadonia, and it's like this beautiful. You have to look it up. It's
okay.
like this metallic pink and blue and teal, beautiful. It's beautiful. And I think they were going for like 500, but now I'm seeing them for like $200-300.
What's the
So
common name of them, or common
I
or
think
scientific?
the Brazilian jewel, maybe Brazilian
Brazilian
jewel.
jewel tarantula?
Yeah, so if you look that up, so that's gonna be like on your
Oh,
high price range.
oh
But
my.
Wow.
All right, let me see if this is the right one here.
Looks pretty accurate.
that's it.
Oh my
Wow. You want a
god.
Brazilian jewel? They're not very venomous, right?
Nope, not medically significant.
Not medically significant. If it escapes and bites you, so okay, let me ask you this: an animal that is not medically significant, what's the worst case you're looking at? Like a little burning sensation? Could you
Yeah.
lose a limb or something from
No.
that?
Well, assuming that you're not allergic,
Okay.
which of course, if a good, it's not a surefire, but if you've been stung by a bee and you were okay, they generally say that you're probably going to be okay.
Huh.
But I've been bitten by not a tarantula, but I was bitten by one of my spiders, and I just had a little bit of localized itching and redness. Nothing crazy. I
Um,
didn't even develop a bump.
are all, and you might not know the answer to this, but are all venomous invertebrates, um, is the venom the same type of, I don't know how venom works, but there's different toxicity
Yeah.
levels, right? For different
Yeah,
species. Like,
no, there are different forms of venom, and I'm
okay,
not too well versed in this, but there's like neurotoxin
yeah,
versus
yeah, that's
like,
what I was getting at. I didn't
yeah,
know how to phrase it, but yeah.
exactly. So there's like the type of venom that like breaks down blood and the type of venom that like breaks down flesh, and they can have multiple kinds. That's about
Are
as much as I know.
tarantulas? Do all New World tarantulas have the same type of venom? Is it,
I believe so, but don't quote me.
And can you hybridize New World tarantulas? And is that how people get new colors? Is that frowned upon in the invertebrate hobby?
Yes, it is generally frowned upon to hybridize. Um, People generally like to see pure species. Yeah, hybridizing is very frowned upon for varying reasons. I mean, I get it. There's, so many species. There's not really a need to hybridize because there's just the amount of species is incredible. And of course, they have to be the same like genus to even hybridize anyways, or else like two tarantulas that look really similar, if they're entirely different species, it's like trying to breed a cat and a dog.
Yeah.
So it just can't happen because like a Grammostola and an Aphonopelma, they're just like cat and dog. Like they can't breed. It's not
the chromosomes
compatible.
and the DNA is
Yeah,
not
they're
compatible.
different species entirely.
Um,
So yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
yeah, and I know the poison dart frog community is very much like that.
Yeah.
The reptile community is kind of split. Like some people are like, yeah, go for it. Let's create some hybridized animals. And other people are like, nah, just stick with whatever. But I was going to ask, what is the waste like of an insect? Do they actually poop? Do they regurgitate? What needs to be broken down or cleaned up in their cage? You know what I mean?
Yes, they do poop. I know that with tarantulas, there's a good chance you rarely ever see like any poop, minus the some of the arboreal species get very creative with their pooping, and they have because as a defense mechanism too, they have the ability to like shoot poop, and they have surprisingly good aim. So you will notice some poop art with arboreal tarantulas, and like with mantis it's just like it's like just little tiny teeny dark pellets with same but with like tarantulas it's not like a thing that's going to be like stinky or anything like that. It's kind of just like a little compacted like waste ball. So it's their waste is very, very manageable. You can probably have a tarantula. I mean, you're gonna have to do rehousings for its whole life, but you may never have to change out the substrate just because they don't dirty it. It's not like when I'm my snakes, I'm like when I started getting reptiles, I was like, oh my God, you gotta change out their substrate? This is a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
So you don't have to change out their substrate if you have cleanup crews, or even if you don't have cleanup crew.
Even if you don't have cleanup crew, you can really get away with spot cleaning.
Oh, okay.
Just yeah,
or
if
will
you
it decompose over time as well? You're saying so that
you'll just if you see something, you just take it out and move
Wow,
on.
that's
But you
really
don't the whole substrate won't become dirtied. So it's really nice.
Yeah, that is super cool, right? So maybe so being conscious of your time, Shenay. It's 7:40 now. How you looking? You want to go now or in a couple minutes, or what are you
A
thinking?
couple more minutes and I can head out.
Okay, great. So, do you want? Is there anything that you would like? You don't have to, but is there anything you would like to promote about your small film stuff that you do, or that you'd like to say about that, or anything, since that's a part of your passion as well, or?
Yeah, well, one thing I would like to promote is this is like one of my first times announcing it, that I'll be on this Tuesday, I'll be on America's Got Talent
No way.
with my cockroaches. And it's like I brought bugs as kind of a joke just to do a silly audition thing and like make it on TV.
What?
So you can tune in on NBC. It'll be at 8 p.m. on Tuesday. So that's something I kind of want to promote.
So you're doing a live audition.
I already did it.
Or you did? It was in
Yeah.
Vegas, right?
No, it was in LA.
Oh, right, LA. Wow. So you were in front of Simon and Howie and.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, because we are like
Yeah, we
avid
love
ATT
America's Got
watchers.
Talent.
Okay, yeah. So you have to check it out. And I have no idea how big my part will be. All I know is that I will be appearing on the episode with my bugs.
Do they tell you? Because surely they don't show everybody's auditions, right? So do they tell you like, hey, we'll contact you if we're going to show your audition? And they contacted you? That's super cool.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I'm very unique fact.
Yeah, they're like, we got.
Anybody else who doesn't act like her.
Okay, Shenay, now you're gonna open up the door for tons of exotic people to be like, you know what? I'm gonna bring some stuff onto the show and scare
Well,
some.
I'm hoping that it'll kind of like shed a positive light on bug keepers and like invert keepers. And I chose to bring cockroaches on the show because I feel like they're so stigmatized, and I just thought it would be so cool to just show them in a different light. So I'm really excited to bring bugs to like mainstream television, and I'm really like nervously awaiting the reaction of America.
Oh my God, I've never seen anybody bring bugs like that on the show before.
That's what they told me.
Like, are you allowed to like talk about it before it's aired?
Not really. I'm just allowed to. I'm just allowed to tell you to tune in. So tune in. But I just wanted to promote that. So if anyone wants to check it out, that'll be this Tuesday, which I believe is the 12th at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on NBC.
Yeah, I'll definitely be watching that. So yeah, you guys heard it. I mean, anybody listening, that is big for the exotic reptile community.
Yeah.
The only thing I want to say though is that understand that it went exactly how I expected, and don't feel bad for me because they do. Like, don't feel, if you watch it, like, do not feel bad for me. It went exactly how I planned.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta imagine that a lot of people who do certain types of acts, they probably know what the judges' reactions are.
Exactly.
But I'll tell you what, if we were on the panel, we would have given you the most positive reaction.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like
you know
cockroaches are kind of smart. I mean, they can learn things, but they can't be trained. And I knew what I was doing.
I mean, you did it, which takes huge courage, and just the fact that like you were there and like you got screen time is a huge victory.
Yeah. I'm really excited. I'm really grateful.
Yeah, that's awesome. So,
but this is like my first announcement. You heard it first here.
Yeah, that's cool. We're honored to have that first announcement here. So really cool about that. And you also do a little bit of like small films and acting.
Yeah. So I'm about to take off right now to go watch a showing of a short film I did. So I do a little bit of acting.
Support your short films, or does that have its own channel, like Instagram page, or you know what I mean? Like any way to see that stuff, or is it not really things that people could do?
Yeah, no, I mean, I would say follow my Instagram. I'll post up what I can. I actually did a film with my bugs last year. We did a short film for a festival, and we did our film was called Stop Bugging Me, and we featured some cockroaches and some mantis in the film, and I got to work with actors and teaching them to be comfortable handling the roaches for the film. So that was such a cool experience. So I'll share that over on my Instagram for anyone who wants to check out that film.
Okay, thank you so much. So in being conscious of your time, we'll wrap up with a couple quick just kind of fun questions. So let me know if you have a fun question. But I got a couple go-tos that I usually go for. So what's your favorite genre of movie?
I like stupid feel-good comedy.
Okay, is that like Napoleon Dynamite type stuff, or is that
like Grandma's Boy and Knocked Up and Baby Mama, like that kind of stuff.
Okay. So kind of like that sarcastic, witty.
Yes. Just like when you want to forget about the world and just like have a good laugh.
All right. If you don't have a question, I got another one. So favorite. Oh wait. Let me ask this. What's your least favorite genre of movie?
Romance.
Okay, so not into the rom-coms.
No, not so much.
Okay, gotcha. I forget the rom-com actors, or I'd ask if you like them. But anyway, we'll move on. Favorite food?
Pad Thai. I love Thai food.
Thai. Okay. Do you have a least favorite food, or?
I don't like tomatoes.
Do you like pizza? Tomato sauce?
I like crave pizza like 3 times a year, and that's it.
Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. So off the top of my head, I can't think of another one. So thank you so much for being here, Shenay. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank
I'm
you so much
really
for
looking
having
forward
me.
to your American Idol. We watch it literally
America's
every
Got Talent.
America's Got.
I do not sing.
If you could teach cockroaches to sing, you should
Yeah,
get $1 million.
that's next year. Next year.
Thank you for being brave, though, and having education and knowledge as your passion behind going out there to represent our community. We'll be behind you 100% of the
Thank
way.
you.
Is there anything you'd like to say in closing, or any pages or anything you'd like to promote where people could find you? YouTube. I know you do YouTube, right?
I do YouTube. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, all under Slightly Venomous. Just Slightly Venomous, no underscores, periods, commas, nothing, just Slightly Venomous. I am just really passionate about what I do. I love sharing my hobby. I just love educating people and just talking about what I love. So if you want to join me in that, like, feel free to follow me in any of my platforms. I would be so grateful to have anyone come and join me in my little cool exotic bug family that I've created. I'm just like so grateful that I even have a platform. I've worked really hard for it, and I'm just so appreciative and so grateful that anyone wants to hear what I have to say. So
Yeah.
and don't kill spiders. Leave the ones in your shower alone.
We will definitely try our hardest to do that and to promote. The ecosystem needs balance, right? And insects have their
Exactly.
part. So, thanks for being open and
Thank you
passionate to
so much
receiving
for having
questions.
me.
Yeah, we love it. You have a great YouTube channel, so definitely go over and visit Shenay's YouTube channel and Instagram, Slightly Venomous. And once again, you do have the discounts on little critter
Tarantula
cares,
cribs.
Tarantula Crib. So message her in the DMs, and she'll give you the code, the
Yes, I
discount code
will.
for that, right? So thank
Yes.
you so much, Shenay. Enjoy your viewing of your
Thank
show and
you.
everything. And
I'm
we
so
will all be
excited.
promoting and looking forward to seeing you on America's Got Talent, not
Thank
American Idol.
you.
So
Not
thank you
American
so much.
Idol.
As soon as I end the stream, you can just click log off. And if it doesn't log you off, I'll go ahead and disconnect you so you can get out of
Okay.
here and have a good night. So thank you
Thank
so
you
much
so
today. We'll
much.
talk to you soon and really appreciate
Okay.
your time.
Thank
So
you.
Nice to
bye.
meet you.
Good to
Bye,
meet you.
guys.
Selling in the billions each year, Rainbow Mealworms is your one-stop shop for all your insect needs. Their quality feeders and A-plus customer service keep me coming back to support the health and growth of all of our animals. Visit them today at rainbowmealworms.net to place your